Fans have been talking quietly, wondering about the tension that seemed to exist between Marvin Sapp and Hezekiah Walker. People noticed subtle things, sometimes a missed handshake, sometimes a headline hinting at disagreements, but no one really knew the full story. Today, for the first time, Marvin Sapp has decided to speak. He is breaking his silence, not to stir drama, but to share the truth behind what happened. Many have waited for answers, and this is that moment. In his own words, Marvin reflects on the years of speculation and the questions that fans have long asked. It's a story about misunderstanding, growth, and finding clarity after years of silence. The tension between Marvin Sapp and Hezekiah Walker did not happen overnight. It started subtly, in moments that most people would never notice. But for those paying attention, it was enough to raise questions. There were instances where schedules didn't align, projects were delayed, and opportunities for collaboration slipped away. Some fans noticed cryptic social media posts that hinted at frustration or disappointment, and news outlets began speculating. In gospel circles, whispers started to spread about a possible disagreement at a major event, an awards show where both were expected to perform together. Marvin, always focused on his music and ministry, found himself caught between wanting to honor the moment and feeling misunderstood. Meanwhile, Hezekiah was dealing with his own pressures and expectations. The situation grew slowly, fueled by assumptions and rumors, rather than outright conflict. Fans began to wonder if the two gospel legends had fallen out completely or if it was simply a misunderstanding. This buildup created a cloud of mystery over their relationship, making every public interaction, or lack thereof, seem like a statement. The stage was set for the moment when Marvin would finally decide to break his silence and address the questions that had lingered for years. To understand why this moment is so significant, it's important to know a little about Marvin Sapp and Hezekiah Walker. Both are giants in the world of gospel music, each with a career full of awards, hit songs, and unforgettable performances. Marvin Sapp is known for his soulful voice and heartfelt messages that touch the lives of millions, while Hezekiah Walker has inspired countless through his choirs and his powerful ability to lead people in worship. Over the years, fans noticed that, although both were successful and shared the same platform at many events, there seemed to be an unspoken tension between them. Rumors circulated in gospel circles about disagreements over collaborations or creative differences, but nothing was ever confirmed. For years, the public was left guessing, piecing together information from interviews, social media posts, and glimpses at award shows. This silence created curiosity, speculation, and even concern among fans who admired both artists. The truth, as Marvin is about to reveal, is far more nuanced than anyone imagined, and it speaks to the challenges of professional relationships in a highly visible and passionate industry. The real turning point came during a major gospel event, one that both Marvin Sapp and Hezekiah Walker had been eagerly anticipating for months. Behind the scenes, there had been miscommunications about performance schedules, song selections, and collaborative roles. What started as small frustrations began to build into something more noticeable, though neither artist intended for it to become a public matter. Marvin recalls feeling a mix of disappointment and confusion, unsure why certain decisions were made without his input, while Hezekiah was equally frustrated, feeling that his intentions had been misunderstood. For the first time, their professional paths seemed to clash in a way that was visible to others. Fans noticed brief moments of awkwardness on stage, subtle gestures that hinted at tension, and journalists began piecing together a narrative that made it seem like there was a rift. The pressure mounted not only from the public eye, but also from personal expectations. Both men were deeply committed to their ministries and to their integrity as leaders in the gospel community. This period of tension forced Marvin to reflect deeply on what had happened, to consider the role of assumptions, and to prepare for a moment when he could finally speak openly and set the record straight. The tension between Marvin Sapp and Hezekiah Walker reached its peak during a major gospel event, one that was expected to be a highlight of the year for both artists. Months of planning, rehearsals, and expectations led up to this moment, but behind the scenes, everything seemed to unravel. Marvin had prepared a special performance, carefully choosing songs that reflected his personal journey and ministry. At the same time, Hezekiah had envisioned a collaborative set that would showcase the strength of his choir and honor the legacy of gospel music. Miscommunications began to pile up, emails went unanswered, scheduling conflicts weren't resolved, and decisions about who would lead certain parts of the program were made without mutual discussion. At first, these problems seemed minor, but as the day approached, frustrations grew. Marvin recalls feeling blindsided when he realized that certain plans had been changed without his knowledge, leaving him questioning the intentions of others. Hezekiah, on the other hand, felt misunderstood, believing that his decisions were made with the best intentions but were being misinterpreted. Behind closed doors, there were tense conversations, polite, professional, but layered with unspoken disappointment. Both men cared deeply about their reputations, their music, and the spiritual impact of their ministry, which made the tension even more personal. When they appeared on stage together, even small gestures, avoiding eye contact, a brief pause, before a handshake, were noticed by fans and media alike. Social media began to buzz with speculation. Were they no longer friends? Was there a deeper feud? For Marvin, the experience was a moment of introspection. He realized that much of the tension wasn't about personal animosity, but about miscommunication, expectations, and the pressure of working in a highly visible, judgmental environment. This period became a turning point, not because of a dramatic confrontation, but because it forced both men to reflect on what had happened, how easily misunderstandings can grow, and how important it is to clarify the truth before rumors define the narrative. After years of silence, Marvin Sapp finally decided it was time to address the situation openly, not to stir controversy, but to clarify the truth and reflect on the lessons learned. In his statement, he speaks honestly about the misunderstandings that had grown over time. He explains that the tension with Hezekiah Walker was never personal, but was the result of miscommunication and high expectations in the heat of their demanding careers. Marvin recalls how, in the gospel industry, schedules are tight, decisions are made quickly, and sometimes even the smallest misstep can create assumptions that spiral out of control. He shares that for years he carried the weight of rumors and speculation, wondering if fans would ever understand what truly happened. Marvin also emphasizes the importance of perspective and forgiveness. He reflects on how easy it is for misunderstandings to grow when people are passionate about their work and committed to their ministry. Rather than dwell on the tension, he focused on his music, his audience, and his personal growth. Hezekiah, too, had been caught in the same cycle of expectations and public perception, and Marvin acknowledges that both of them were learning and evolving in real time. In this moment, Marvin's words are heartfelt and measured, striking a balance between honesty and respect. He thanks fans for their patience and understanding, while making it clear that what mattered most was maintaining integrity, faith, and focus on the work they were both called to do. For the first time, the story behind the rumors is revealed in a calm, truthful way, showing that even in the midst of tension, professionalism, reflection, and grace can prevail. Marvin Sapp felt it was time to finally speak out, not to make headlines or fuel gossip, but to share the truth behind what really happened with Hezekiah Walker and to bring closure to the speculation that had lingered for so long. Marvin begins by acknowledging the rumors that had circulated over the years, rumors that suggested personal conflict or even a falling out. He explains, in his calm and reflective voice, that those rumors were far from reality. The tension that people noticed was rooted in professional misunderstandings, miscommunications, and the natural pressures that come with managing careers in the public eye. Marvin recalls how small scheduling conflicts and unintentional changes in plans had snowballed into assumptions. He emphasizes that at no point was there any personal animosity toward Hezekiah. Rather, both men were navigating high expectations, public scrutiny, and their own devotion to ministry. He shares how carrying the weight of these misunderstandings had been challenging, both personally and professionally, and how he often wondered if fans would ever know the truth. Marvin also takes a moment to reflect on the lessons learned from the experience. He speaks about the importance of communication, patience, and maintaining grace even when misunderstandings arise. What makes Marvin's revelation so compelling is the balance between honesty and humility. He does not place blame or dwell on the past. Instead, he focuses on clarity and understanding. He praises Hezekiah for his dedication to gospel music and acknowledges the mutual respect that always existed, even during tense moments. Marvin's words convey maturity and professionalism, showing that even in moments of confusion or tension, it is possible to respond with integrity and empathy. By the end of his statement, it becomes clear to the audience that the story is not about conflict, but about perspective, growth, and the importance of keeping faith and focus at the center of one's work. Fans are left with a sense of closure, understanding that what they witnessed publicly was only a small part of a deeper, more nuanced story about professionalism, humility, and the human side of being in the spotlight. Looking back at the entire situation, there are important lessons to take away, not just for fans, but for anyone navigating relationships and professional life. Marvin reflects on how easily misunderstandings can grow when communication is unclear and expectations are high. He emphasizes that even the most respected and experienced professionals can face moments of tension and misalignment, and that it is human to encounter challenges in relationships, especially in high-pressure environments. Another key lesson Marvin highlights is the importance of perspective. What the public sees is often only a fraction of the full story, and assumptions can easily turn into rumors. By choosing to focus on honesty, integrity, and personal growth, Marvin shows how conflicts, real or perceived, can be transformed into opportunities for reflection and maturity. He also touches on the value of forgiveness and grace. Both he and Hezekiah were able to move past the misunderstandings by recognizing each other's intentions and keeping faith at the center of their work. Marvin encourages fans to look beyond surface-level drama and instead focus on understanding, empathy, and the positive contributions of those they admire. Ultimately, the story is a reminder that professional relationships, even among talented and passionate individuals, require patience, communication, and humility. By sharing this perspective, Marvin not only clears the air about the past, but also provides a meaningful message for anyone facing tension, conflict, or rumors in their own life. The reflection leaves the audience with a sense of closure, insight, and a deeper appreciation for the human side of leadership, artistry, and faith. As the story comes to a close, it becomes clear that what mattered most was not the tension itself, but how it was handled. Marvin Sapp's decision to finally speak out reminds us that clarity, honesty, and reflection can turn years of uncertainty into understanding and growth. He emphasizes that both he and Hezekiah Walker continue to honor their craft, their faith, and their commitment to gospel music despite past misunderstandings. For fans, the takeaway is simple. Rumors and speculation often tell only part of the story, and the real lesson lies in empathy, patience, and seeing the human side behind every headline. Marvin leaves the audience with a final thought, that faith, professionalism, and integrity should guide every decision, even in moments of tension. As viewers reflect on this story, they are invited to consider their own relationships and the importance of communication, forgiveness, and perspective in resolving misunderstandings. Ultimately, it is a story of growth, respect, and moving forward with grace, leaving the audience with a sense of closure, inspiration, and hope. One thing becomes crystal clear. What truly matters is not the tension or misunderstanding itself, but how it is faced, understood, and ultimately resolved. Marvin Sapp's decision to finally speak out after years of silence is more than just clarification. It is a testament to the power of honesty, reflection, and emotional courage. He shares not only the facts of what happened, but also the feelings he carried for years, the frustration, the confusion, and at times the weight of wondering whether people would ever understand. By speaking openly, Marvin releases that burden and, in doing so, models for others how to confront difficult moments with grace rather than bitterness. He emphasizes that both he and Hezekiah Walker, despite the challenges, continued to honor their faith, their music, and their audiences. Marvin reflects on the human side of every artist. Behind the performances and awards are real people, with emotions, struggles, and the need for understanding. He invites fans to look beyond the surface, to see the intentions and efforts behind every action, and to remember that misunderstandings do not define a person or a relationship. The emotional heart of the message is about growth and forgiveness. Marvin reminds us that life is full of moments where we feel misunderstood or judged, but what matters is how we respond, with patience, humility, and love. He encourages viewers to carry this lesson into their own lives, to mend relationships, to communicate clearly, and to focus on what truly matters. The story closes on a note of hope and inspiration, highlighting that even after tension and doubt, reconciliation, understanding, and mutual respect are always possible. Marvin's words leave the audience not just with closure about a long-standing question, but with a heartfelt reminder. In every challenge, there is an opportunity for personal growth, for compassion, and for faith to guide the way. The ending lingers with a quiet but powerful sentiment. Even in moments of conflict, grace can prevail, and truth, once spoken, can heal not only relationships but hearts.